Welcome to this installation tutorial. In this video, I will describe the steps to install StoryLiner in Blender 4.2 and upper versions. You probably know that, starting from Blender 4.2, add-ons are managed very differently. They are now called extensions, their structure has changed, as well as the way they are installed. Converting StoryLiner to an extension is tricky, not only because it's a big add-on, but also because the Python library dependencies are complicated to pack. Indeed, they also want to install their own dependencies. For these reasons, StoryLiner has not yet been converted to an extension. So at the moment, it has to be installed with a method called FromDisk. And here is the process. To allow the installation of the extra Python libraries for the advanced editions of StoryLiner, it is necessary to be connected to the internet, launch Blender with root privileges. This is only for the time of the installation and it is not required for the Lite edition. On Windows, right-click on the Blender 4.2 icon and choose Run as Administrator. When Blender is launched, go to the Preference panel and open the Add-on tab. You will see that its layout changed a bit compared to previous versions. Then click on the small drop-down component here and choose Install from Disk. Pick the zip file of StoryLiner and validate. You may have to wait a few seconds for the libraries to be installed. Now, expand the StoryLiner Preference panel to check if everything is right, as it is the case here. You can now close the Preference panel, press N to display the N tab, and you will see StoryLiner there. Obviously, Blender is in administrator mode, so you can now close it and launch it the usual way. And what if the installation of a Python package failed? In case of trouble, go to the add-on preference, expand StoryLiner, and you will see if the package were installed correctly. In this case, for example, we see that OpenTimeline.io didn't go well. You can press the install button to run the installation again. In this case, we see that the error is still here. To know more about the issue, you can go to Window, Toggle System Console, and see what happened exactly. In this case, for example, we see that it cannot connect to the internet. The issue usually occurs when your firewall is blocking the download, when the Blender script folder do not allow modifications, or when the requested Python packages are not accessible for some reason. Fix the problem and restart the installation process. Also note that StoryLiner can still be used without those packages, just the related features will not be available. Note that it is now possible to enable and disable StoryLiner at will without losing your preferences. For example, if we modify the default settings, like that, and we turn off StoryLiner and then turn it on again, we see that the changes are still there. StoryLiner preferences are automatically saved when the add-on is disabled. This feature has been introduced in version 1.1. Taking advantage of that, you can export your preference settings to a JSON file and import them in another instance of Blender. That's very useful when you switch from Blender 4.1 to 4.2, for example. Now StoryLiner is available in the N tab of the 3D view. May you still have trouble to install StoryLiner, consult the FAQ section of the documentation or enter an issue in the support web page. Enjoy StoryLiner, create great stories!